In this video, we'll talk about whether it is changed or not, and I will teach you the 7th unit, Cultural Studies. Hi everyone, this is Vineet Pandey, and you all know that the UGC NET pattern, this NET syllabus, it has been changed drastically. And you'll be thinking, why did I say UGC NET? Because UGC is the governing body that designs the NET syllabus, that designs the qualification criteria, that also designs the university panels to select candidates for NET and JRF. NTA is simply an examination conducting system, and NTA doesn't relate itself to syllabus. While most of the people, they are saying that syllabus is not changed, I am telling you why are they telling it. They are saying syllabus is not changed because if they accept it, they will have to teach the new 50% change, and they know that it's not that easy. So it's simple. Confuse the student, say that it is not changed, it is simply disguised, it is covered, it has been reframed and fabricated, and in short, play with the future of the student. So I strongly recommend you, I simply suggest you, syllabus is changed, and wherever you go to join, wherever you want to learn, whenever you choose your teacher and the guide, ask him a very simple funda, ask a very simple concept. So, will you prepare us for unit 1 to unit 4 in a critical way, means a critical assessing way, where you will develop us to read those lines, paragraphs and understandings? Will you do it or not? And then ask that unit 4th, which is actually dealing with this non-fictional system, will you deliver the lecture with all the most important non-fictional books from literature point of view, and seeing the last paper related to Ayodhya Babri Masjid demolition case, when there was a question asked, ask them, will you be teaching us the rest content which is related to it? Ask me the same question. It's not for others. If you're choosing me, ask me the same question. I also lie in the same category. Then make sure you ask them, will you be teaching us language, history, pedagogy, and will you please stop calling it linguistic? Please do some justice to at least this qualification of NET. So ask them, will you be teaching all those things? Will you teach us culture studies? If you say yes, then only join and make them teach you that. I'm telling you, otherwise you'll simply say that, so I this and that I did, I joined, I am suffering. Now we switch to the unit 7, which is cultural studies, and I'm going to introduce you. Repeating once again, I am not going to sum up complete culture study as a topic. I'm not going to teach you in a direct way. First thing is, I must introduce it. What is culture study? How it is related to English literature, how it is related to syllabus of literature. Friends, we have been studying Chaucer, then modern writers in British history. We also went for Indian writings. We understood our writers like Torudar, then Arkinarayan, then modern writers Manju Kapoor and all. We also went for world literature. We went for Germany, French, and a lot of writers we did. Then how all of a sudden they introduce a topic which is 7th unit, and it's called culture studies. Before I start this, I'll strongly recommend one more point. If you find anyone telling you that culture study is a literary theory, then please ask the person to grow up. It's not a theory. Just type it on Google. Type it, that culture study as a theory. You'll find out that it's not a theory, it's a complete stream. There are theories related to culture studies. For example, Sapir-Whorf analysis is also related to culture studies. Now the question comes, what is culture study? So here I start. Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste. When I said Salaam alaikum, did you accept this salam? Only the Muslims accepted it. When I said Namaste, only the Hindus related that yes, he's talking to us. And when I said that Sat Sri Akal, so it was like only the Sikhs they related. 3 of these words, they have simple meanings, and I'm sure the same emotions and the same message which is intended to be conveyed. When there is same message, why did I go for 3 different wordings? And if I went for 3 different wordings, why these 3 different wordings are representing 3 different cultures, 3 different religions, 3 different mindsets? That's what you have to read for culture studies. Because if we're talking about the global citizenship and we want to understand the world psychology, like I suggest you just remember this point. One of my students from Nepal, one day he texted me. It's 2-3 years back. He texted me, "Sir, you said that John Galsworthy is one of the best writers, and John Galsworthy has won Nobel Award of 1932. How he can be a very nice writer, a best person, and he has won Nobel Award when he eloped with his brother's wife?" Take 10 seconds and think about it. What do you think? Should we nominate someone for Nobel Award, for any highest prestigious award? And can we also consider the point that he eloped with his brother's wife? Maybe had an incest with his sister, cousin sister, anyone? How you relate it? Here you have to understand culture studies. Galsworthy was a Western writer. So if he eloped with his brother's wife is not that issue where we people living in South Asia with the mindset of South Asian attitude, we are judging. So had he been from India, yes, I understand. He wouldn't have been given the Nobel Award. So here what you have to do is, you are looking at the West with the mindset of South Asia. Here you have to understand things. I'll try to explain the same thing in an easy way. All these people, those who are wearing those shoes of Nike and Reebok, and we buy it in thousands, 8,000, 9,000. Do you know that they simply have just a price of $1? And these shoes are made by those Nigerians, those African, very small countries, very poor countries, who don't even wear it, but they prepare for us. Why these companies, these multinational companies, they go for those countries? They go to save money, to get cheap labor, raw material and everything. So this is how one day the multinational company, and I'm taking a reference of Coca-Cola, which this reference has been taken from a famous book of culture studies. I'll let you know. So the reference that I'm taking right now is these multinational company, they wanted to sell a cold drink, a kind of Coca-Cola or a Pepsi. It was the Gulf countries. As we know, Gulf countries are very strict with their religious rules and regulations, doctrines. These Western countries, they found a good market. They thought we must introduce this thing in a way so that they start buying our cold drinks. And these people, those who were educated in Oxford and Cambridge, they went there and they started placing hoardings and boards. As you must have read simply that Saussurean technology, Saussurean linguistic, signboards, they simply give you direct meaning, but the words, they may divert you. So they went for signboards because the signboards, they give you actual meaning. There is no need of different language. So place the signboards. The signboard had 3 parts. One, dead man. Then in the second part, there was Coca-Cola. And the third part, the man started running. So what they wanted to say, that if you're tired, if you're totally exhausted, take our Coca-Cola and you'll start running. This was the message. And by the late evenings, by the late night, they covered entire city with the hoardings and the boardings, pamphlets, wallpapers. Next morning, they found that even the rest of the sale, the remaining sale, that surprisingly decreased. People started throwing it. And all these people, they just got confused. They all panicked that what happened? What went wrong that all of a sudden these people, they have started throwing our Pepsi, Coca-Cola stuff away. So these people in suited, booted, fair skin, fair white hair, they started having conversation. What went wrong, buddy? What went wrong, buddy? And the person who was serving them tea was the local, was the native of the Gulf country. Seeing these people troubled, panicked, confused together, he said, "Can I say something?" And these people thought, okay, you two speak. Okay, we give you a chance, talk. He said, "Sir, the Gulf countries or people, those who are following Urdu language or Arabian language, they read from the backside." So the message was, a running man drinks Coca-Cola and dies. So here I am proving the importance of culture studies. I know others are not going to teach you the same thing, or maybe they'll follow my lecture and they'll try to relate to come with another lecture. But I'm going to introduce this thing. Remember, if you're relating culture studies with Shakespeare and all, you must understand that Shakespeare is being read by Indians. So here there are multiple issues we must think. Why don't we Indians relate with Oedipus complex? Because we respect our mothers like goddesses. So we never ever compete ourselves with our fathers from sexual competitive point of view. But Westerns, they have different approaches. So Electra complex, that's a Western content studied by Indian point of view or your own point of view. Culture studies simply gives you multiple perceptions to understand, to relate, to think. And my friends, you'll be surprised that we have different types of culture studies. The criticism of British culture studies we'll be talking about soon, American culture studies, Australian culture studies. Do you know that the Americans, they actually designed the concept of long hat and the coat, which is also known as the Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam stands for those people. How do you find the word Uncle Tom? If you remember Uncle Tom's Cabin, written by Harriet Beecher Stowe, it has become a term for any person in 50s and 60s who is actually taking care of somebody's family, like a kind of male nanny, or we can simply say that some male caretaker or male in charge. Here, one word you have to remember is, when you watch Bollywood movies, do you know that what is the actual importance of heroines in the movie? Have you ever thought that why these heroines are added in the story? I'm not talking about some feminist story. There are some works, some good Bollywood movies which are actually celebrating women, as a strong women, as a feminist women. I'm talking about all other movies which are actually commercial, and they have heroines, and most of the heroines, they are not needed. They are needed for item songs. They are needed to show the glamour. Okay, so now tell me, the last movie you watched, did they try to show you the loyalty of the heroine, the character of the heroine, the true nature, hard work, studies, dedication, culture? Or they simply tried to show you her curves, her fitness, her six pack, a bikini body? Why they are doing this? Because they are simply making women a sex object. If you have ever read Sigmund Freud, remember the word scopophilia. Scopophilia is the word which is also related to Laura Mulvey's concept of male gaze. You are gazing at someone because you're deriving sexual pleasure by looking at women's body. So what they're doing is, they are presenting a body in front of us so that so the desires will be gratified. There are unconscious desires, and scopophilia is the same word which is related to it. Laura Mulvey, in a famous work, Visual Pleasures of Narrative Cinema, which was also a question of December 2014 NET exam, she talks about that how women has been portrayed. Imagine if you just talk about 15 years back cinema, people were not concerned about six pack. Why gradually it has become a part of life, and if you do not have six pack, you feel like I'm incompetent. Why it just hovers around it, like every boy has to take muscles, wants to have six pack? Why? What feeling made you feel that if these things are not with you, you are somewhere incompetent, you are lagging behind something? Why women, they have been told that it's not about the facial body, you must look curvy, zero figure and all? This is culture study. Now how? Because if we go for the Western countries, they are known for their a kind of broader way of living life. So if you find the women at the beaches and you compare the equal body, you start praising the fitness people. In India, women are covered, so we never related to curves and those things related to beauty. We simply went for features, we simply went for culture, we simply went for nature. But now they have imposed their culture here. We are simply running to be one of them. Don't relate it to colonization or colonial point of view. Yes, it is related, but remember, now culture studies has a broader things. Here we simply will relate to translation theories. Friends, in my next video, I'll start talking about the different topics which have been added. I'll be talking about the language history and other points. Remember, if you want to join our courses, you can simply WhatsApp us on the given numbers. Remember, one more thing, why to join us? Do you know that the people, those who are teaching you NET, are hardly teaching somewhere else in any college? A person who has never taught in any graduation, any post-graduation, how a person going to narrate those tough points? I simply suggest you do not waste your hopes, money and time with a person who still needs to be taught properly. When I qualified NET, it didn't make me a NET expert. My 3 years in University of Delhi, I was just searching certain books written by Indian writers for culture studies to tell you, and I thought that maybe there is something like that. I found a book written by Arup K. Chatterjee on Indian Railway. Do you know Arup K. Chatterjee is my friend? I'm surprised. I'm just going to text him that, buddy, I just saw your book and I'll buy it. Why he talks about the railway system? Even the railway system speaks. Why those third AC, second AC becomes the status standards? Why people they keep going and on Facebook they tell that we are in Starbucks, we are flying to somewhere else. How it becomes the part of that culture? Have you ever thought about the club culture, the disc culture, the multinational company sectors and their culture? So there are multiple subcultures, and this is one of the most unique point. Culture studies made JNU one of the 100 best, one of the departments of 100 best departments of world. Means JNU's English department was counted in the list of 100 best departments of the world because of culture studies and recent changes. These people are researching, they're talking about the latest thing. So remember this culture study point. Make sure you try to read it with available sources, but whenever you get confused, you can simply talk to me. I'm always available, and all my students who are gonna watch it, simply remember that culture studies is not a theory. If somebody is telling you language, history, pedagogy is linguistic, then please don't waste your time. Linguistic is just a sub branch of that thing. Okay, I'll make it easy. I am speaking in Hindi. So I asked you, teach me the Hindi words. So you will teach me the Hindi words with their parts, with their sounds, with their phonemes. That's linguistic. But what they have said is history of language. Means you need to tell me that how Hindi was related to Sanskrit, whether it is a Prakrit language, whether it is Abhransh, whether it is related to some Lipi or some Varn Akshara. This is how you have to go for those things. Remember, don't get confused by incompetent people, because this is the time where you need to think about your future. Don't waste your time. May God bless you. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching us, and to subscribe and like our comments. Okay, thank you so much.